Hey guys, this is Airstream here, and yes, this is a final face reveal. Today we are at my school doing an experiment in the cafeteria. Really don't have any idea what's going on. What do you think of this? Hi. I guess you've never been on camera. Right now we are waiting for them to get ready. So as soon as that happens, I will be right back. Okay, looks like it's about to start. I'm gonna go ahead and point the camera at them so that we can get this whole thing in here.
Alright guys, listen up. Today we're going to do some science demonstrations. We're going to demonstrate some chemical and physical changes. Yay! We're going to actually start with the chemical change. We are going to start with a very, very dangerous substance. Alright, it's called sodium. It is called an alkali metal. It is very, very highly reactive. If you're in 8th grade science, you should know about valence electrons. And this particular substance is missing some electrons, so it's seeking out those electrons. It's trying to find a substance it can borrow some electrons from, and so it tries to connect to every substance around it. I'm actually going to use a small fish tank that has some water in the bottom. The reaction is so violent, it's actually going to start ripping apart the water molecules. What is water made out of? H2O. It's made out of 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen atom. It is going to be ripped apart so it can steal the 1 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. It's going to make a gas. It's kind of a stinky gas. It's called sodium hydroxide. And it's also going to produce hydrogen gas, which is a flammable gas. It might actually catch on fire. We're going to put a little lid on it, keep it from splattering. But it may catch on fire and it may possibly explode. Last period it exploded. Alright? So, this particular substance is very dangerous. You can't go to the store and buy this. We have to order it through a special catalog, especially for science teachers. It has to be shipped in a special container, and it has to be stored in mineral oil to keep it, because it'll actually react with the water in the atmosphere. Alright? Very, very dangerous. Definitely can try it.
Yeah, for real. Whatever's happening to you last time, it's in the water.
It ignited a little bit. There we go. Caught on fire.
It's vaping.
Has anyone heard of chlorine gas? Okay, that's sodium. Chlorine gas is what we use to clean swimming pools. It's what you smell, that bleachy smell. That's chlorine gas. Pure chlorine gas is deadly to humans. Deadly. Whenever you smell bleach, whenever you smell bleach, you're smelling actually very, very diluted chlorine gas. But pure chlorine gas is deadly to humans. But if we take that very dangerous substance, sodium, and chlorine, and we mix it together, they make a perfect couple. All right? You know anybody at Craig Middle School that's a perfect couple? All right. Listen. All right. When sodium and chlorine come together, they make a perfect pair. They complete each other. They complete those valence electrons we talked about. All right, 8th grade? All right, not 7th grade, but 8th grade? They complete the electrons. That outer shell is complete when they're together, and they're extremely stable. Does anybody know what sodium chloride is? What is sodium chloride? Sodium chloride is salt. Okay? So those two dangerous substances, when they come together, they're very, very stable. This is rock salt. You have salt on your table at home. You put on food. Salt is sodium and chlorine that are combined together. All right? That's a very, very stable substance. All right. One of the gases that's actually released from this, Ms. Jocelyn, will you hit the lights? One of the gases released, one of the reasons it's exploded was that hydrogen gas was being released. Remember I said that the water molecules were being ripped apart? Some of them that were being ripped apart released hydrogen gas. That's what caught on fire. When you saw it rolling around in there on fire, that is hydrogen gas that's burning, that's coming off the reaction. All right, it's one of the products of the reaction. We actually have some hydrogen gas in a balloon. So hydrogen gas is very, very dangerous. If you have or if you have a slow motion camera, this is a good slow motion video here. This reaction, this is a chemical reaction. All right, guys, listen. Guys, I'm going to introduce a flame. I need your attention up here. If you don't like loud noises, you might want to cover your ears. But I will tell you, this reaction is hydrogen gas and oxygen. When I introduce the flame, it's going to produce an explosion. But the product of this reaction is actually water vapor. All right? So this is going to create water vapor. All right? Are we ready? If you have a slow motion camera, you need to get it ready. If you don't like loud noises, you need to cover your ears.
I think I wrote this.
I wish we could. We have a limited amount of hydrogen. So listen, guys. Listen, guys. I need your attention. Hey, we leave that. Yeah. A few years ago, Honda came out with a car that's actually powered by hydrogen gas, and its exhaust was water vapor, which is great, but the problem is you have to store a canister of that gas in your car. Is that going to be very safe?
Yeah, ma'am.
Not really. Would you want a canister of hydrogen under your seat? Probably not. Okay? All right.
Ooh, that's loud.
Ooh.
That was
So I'm actually going to do a chemical reaction here. You may have experienced this chemical reaction if you've ever roasted a marshmallow before. I'm actually going to catch sugar on fire. I have to start this one. This one's going to take a few minutes. There's a little bit of powdered sugar in here. We're actually going to catch this on fire. I had to use a little lighter fluid. As this sugar catches on fire, it's actually going to start growing. This is very slow. This is going to take a while. You don't want to take a picture of it. It's going to take a few minutes to get going, but it's actually going to create a new substance. If you remember from science, a chemical change is making new molecules. It will take a while, guys. That's why I have to light it early. While we're waiting for that to happen,
Okay, the phones are only for recording. We're not for playing on games. We're not for internet right now. So if we're playing, we'll pick it up.
It just stopped recording.
We're not recording anything right now. But I'm just saying that's the purpose. That's why we're letting you talk about
We just want to make sure.
I think the fire thing's good.
all right.
We have those.
Does anybody know if metal can burn? Metal can burn. You're correct. So, before we had flash cameras, like your phone has a flash camera, the earliest flash cameras actually had to use a chemical called magnesium. That's what this is. This is magnesium. And they had to burn the magnesium in the flash bulb, and you had to change the bulb every time you took a picture. Believe it or not, early flash cameras, you had to change the bulb every time you used the camera. Every time you made a flash.
Oh no.
Alright, so I'm going to ignite this metal. I'm actually going to burn this metal. This metal is used quite frequently in fireworks. We use magnesium. If you've ever seen, anybody like fireworks?
Yes, I love
You know the ones that are really, really bright whites and they make a big boom? Those have magnesium in them. Alright, so let's see this metal. This metal is going to burn. There we go.
I need to make a flare another way.
So, it's very, very hot and it's very, very bright.
Yeah, if you touch it.
Pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Alright, you see our sugar is starting to grow. Sugar's starting to grow.
Sugar.
It's starting to burn.
Yeah, but
When it cools off, I'll let you see the remnants of the sugar. Let me tell you about sublimation for a second.
It's too bad Angela didn't look at
I know. Extractor. Alright guys. So, this is dry ice. While that's actually still cooling down, I'm going to talk about a physical change. Guys, you don't need to record right now, you just need to listen. Alright, I'll have a couple more opportunities for you to record something cool. Alright, right now, I'm going to talk about this substance. This is called dry ice. And we're going to talk about a physical change. Guys, put your phones away and look up here. Guys, up here. Up here. Alright. This is a substance that we use. We use it for a lot of different things. When we ship things that need to stay cool, it's dry ice. It's not frozen ice, it's dry ice. This is actually frozen carbon dioxide. All right, frozen carbon dioxide. The same thing that makes the bubbles in a soda. This is the frozen version of it. All right, it's cool down. You could, actually during Halloween, a lot of people will buy this at the grocery store and they'll put it in their punch for their Halloween party, and it will make bubbles and it looks like a witch's cauldron. It is still very dangerous. If you touch this or touch it to your tongue, it will burn your skin or burn your tissue, but it will release carbon dioxide gas into the liquid. So if you put it in fruit punch it's not carbonated, if you put a few chunks of this in there, it will actually carbonate the punch. It will leave some of the gas. If you drink the carbonated punch, it's okay. If you get a piece of this in your mouth, you're going to have a serious issue, okay? Because this can burn your mouth. If you've ever had ice cream from those little street vendors that they use dry ice, they will tell you don't put it straight in your mouth because it's too cold. It will stick to your tissue and it will actually damage the tissue and cause burns in your mouth. But when we talk about dry ice does something very, very unique that not very many substances do. When it's a solid, we talk about change of state. What are our different states? Solid, liquid, gas, okay? This is a solid, and it is not turning into a liquid. It's actually going straight to being from a solid to straight to being a gas. That is a special change of state. It's called sublimation. It's skipping a step. It's going straight to a gas. All right, I'm going to do something real quickly. All right, I'm actually going to take a quarter, and I'm going to place it on the surface of this dry ice, and it's going to speed up the sublimation process because this quarter's warm. It's taking my thermal energy. I'm holding it really tightly, and it's going to speed up the the sublimation. But when I push the quarter down on the dry ice, the carbon dioxide gas is trying to get out, and it can't get out, so it has to push the quarter up a little bit, and you'll hear what happens. All right, do I hear that? All right, We call this a screaming quarter trick, but all it's doing is the gas is actually pushing the quarter up real rapidly. Once the gas escapes, the quarter can fall back down, and it vibrates, and it causes a little squealing sound. Let me hear it one more time.
Sounds like
All right. It actually cools the quarter off very, very quickly, so it doesn't last very long. All right, well, I'm trying to get it up right here. Anybody want to hold the quarter up or do this?
I do.
Dad.
Put your hand up.
Let's call him Dad. B.A.
Very cool.
I'll give you another
All right.
because I got like 25 courses.
I will tell you, guys, be very careful. If you've ever had this at home, you need to be very, very cautious with dry ice. Dry ice, when it sublimates, when it goes from being a solid to a gas, it actually expands in volume about 20 times. All right, so sometimes people like to put this in things, containers, to blow the containers up. Every year in the United States, about 20 kids not die, but they either lose an eye or they lose a finger because they're playing with this. Right? This is a very, very dangerous substance. When it expands, it can cause an explosion that can be very, very dangerous. So do not play around with this substance. It's very, very dangerous. All right? You understand that? Okay. Okay, yeah.
Man. I'm about to beat my watermelon. Beat my You want bag.
It's about to be mine. Beat the meat. Yeah. Good job. Beat it hard.
I'm going to let you touch the bubbles of the carbon dioxide. If you put, we breathe out carbon dioxide, it makes up about 14% of our atmosphere. But we're going to actually put some hot water on this and make it start sublimating faster. And we put some dish soap on it so it'll make some bubbles, and those bubbles will have carbon dioxide trapped in them. All right? We'll walk around and everybody can touch it. I'm going to do elephant toothpaste in just a second. All right?
It's like you bake it.
All right.
No, bring it through.
Smells lovely in here.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. You want to touch it? You gonna touch it, or are you gonna touch it? Okay. You want to touch it? That's cool.
Bubble balls. Not gonna hurt you. It is bubbles.
Michaela. Wow, the bubbles popped.
No, they just
The bubbles popped. It does.
Guys, look over here. We're going to do a very rapid thermal tank. Look up here. We have a couple of aluminum cans that we're boiling a little bit of water in. We're going to...
You didn't touch it, man.
Guys.
Michael's like a little boy.
Alright, look at this can.
Adam.
Okay, shh. This time.
Changes
inside. You only have 2 hands. That thermal chain, I wish I could do with something larger. I've actually seen it demonstrated with a large barrel. If you boil water in the large barrel and you close it up and you dump ice on it, the whole barrel will collapse. Okay? Alright, we're about to do something called elephant toothpaste. Alright, we're actually going to use a substance called potassium permanganate. Alright? Potassium permanganate. This substance is very, very purple, if you notice.
Is that Kool-Aid?
It's definitely not Kool-Aid. Alright? Well, actually, it is in really tiny amounts. If you've ever been camping before and there's little tablets that you put in, like pond waters, if you want to drink it, it actually contains really small quantities of potassium permanganate. This amount would be very, very dangerous, even to touch your skin. I'm not tasting it because it will kill me. All right?
That's okay, bro.
All right? This is very, very dangerous. All right. Alright, the reason I added soap,
No one cares.
guys, listen. I'm about to mix a chemical in with this that's going to react very violently with it. Listen. I put soap in this because it's going to make bubbles and that'll help keep it all stuck together. If I pour the reactant in here, it's actually going to splatter if I just put the soap in here. I don't want it splattering everywhere because it's dangerous. Alright.
It's hard here, dude. Like,
Ready?
don't call them the cafeteria.
Yes. Yeah, you can use
Yeah,
it
use
on
bomb,
anything that makes
bro.
bubbles. Alright. This is hydrogen peroxide. If you go to the store and you buy hydrogen peroxide to wash out your hands with, it's actually 3%. Exothermic. It's releasing thermal energy. Exothermic. Very good. All right. I've never done that. We have one. We have a good one. I'm going to show you what the sugar has become. Actually, it's too delicate. It already broke into several pieces. If you've ever seen a really, really burnt marshmallow, this is what it looks like.
Not you. Not you.
Don't try this at home, or any of the things you've seen.
Alright, so I'm going to do this. This is a very interesting reaction. Alright, this is actually isopropyl alcohol, 99% isopropyl alcohol. The alcohol you use to clean out a wound is usually 70%, so this is pretty strong stuff. Our problem is, yeah, would it kill you? No, but dang it.
Yeah.
Alright. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to spread it out in the inside of this container because I want the vapor, I want the alcohol vapor to actually be inside the canister. The more vapor that's in here, the more dramatic this reaction will be. Well, actually we want there to be no liquid left. We want it to just be vapor. When there's liquid inside of here, it slows down this, slows it down a little bit. I'm gonna have to YouTube that.
Yeah.
Alright, if you have slow-mo on your camera, this would be a good thing to catch with slow-mo.
Why did I turn slow motion on?
I don't have that.
Alright, everybody, we got a camera. Ready?
Like I said, don't try that at home.
Listen, guys. That heated up the container very hot for just a split second. And now I put my hand on it to seal the top. You see how it's collapsing? When I let go, listen. Alright? So that's from the thermal changes that occurred. Sadly, you cannot, because you see this water coming out? That heat caused all the water that was in the air to immediately condense into a liquid, and this is water coming out. Okay? So that's when we have to dry this out every time. If I try to do it again, it won't work because there's too much water in here. Okay? Does that make sense? Alright, we're gonna do I'm sorry. Who knows what's a bell ring?
What time is y'all's class over?
50. Okay, yeah, so they have to start coming here pretty soon. Alright. We have time for one more. Alright. You can actually just bring the trash can in here. That'd be easier to carry the trash can. Okay, hold on one second. We got one more fairly dramatic thing to do. Okay, guys. All right, who knows what? Guys, listen. All right, we should guys, sit down. We should.
Ladies, off the table.
Guys, I need your attention up here.
Off the table, please. Ma'am.
And don't sit on the table, guys. Sit on the chairs. All right. Guys, air is a mixture of different gases. Guys, I need you to get quiet. Alright, so the air around us is a mixture of gases, but 70% of that mixture is a substance called nitrogen. Alright? Nitrogen makes up 70% of our atmosphere. And if we take nitrogen, I was actually very lucky, ACU physics department actually donated this liquid nitrogen. If we compress it and we cool it, we can turn it into a liquid. Have we talked about changes of state? Alright? It's very, very cold. It's about negative 195 Fahrenheit, which is very, very cold. Very, very cold. Cold, not hot. All right. All right, it is dangerous, yes. This is a very special container that's called a dewar. It allows the substance to release as a gas and not compress. This right here is dripping down. I'm going to take this piece of an apple, I'm going to put it in here, it's immediately going to start boiling.
The apple was
This apple is going to freeze solid. It'll be like a rock. Not going to bite it. I can't actually touch this. If I touch this liquid nitrogen, it will burn my skin. It will actually burn. It will freeze the water in my cells and make them rupture. All right. I am going to drop the apple. I got really big things about it. Yeah, I left my gloves on the other car. All right. Oops, I spilled some. All right. Watch the apple. All right. Got it. Isaac, I'm sorry. We'll get it off to you. All right. It's down at the bottom.
It's me. She's back to you.
Cold. Very, very cold. You ready? I actually had to drive from ACU over here to Craig with this in my back seat of my truck. I was very concerned about getting in a car wreck. If I would have gotten in a car wreck, I would have been a human consequence. this is called, guys, listen, this is called Van generator. And because it's pretty humid today, this is not working very well. It has to be really, really dry outside. Alright? So this doesn't work. This actually gets static electricity, just like if you walk around the carpet with your socks and you can shock your brother or sister. This actually does that very rapidly. Alright? But because it's very humid, there we go. It's not working very well. Dry out the stuff. Alright, so we're going to do this a different way.
Y'all suck. Y'all fail.
Oh my god.
What?
So, we're going to take this liquid nitrogen.
Guys, last one. You're wasting your time.
Alright, we're gonna actually make this turn into from a liquid to a gas very, very rapidly. Alright. Guys, you burn your skin off. Oh, I'm just kidding. Alright.
Oh my god, that's so cool! Okay guys, I guess that's the end of this video. I'll see you guys in the Demon Zone.